Well, hey, everybody, this is Tanner Mulvihill over at Bayfield Home Loans. I'm a homeowner in Kemp Woods, a member of the Civic League, and I am joined by my friend, real estate superstar, Dayla Brooks. Dayla, how are you today?
Good morning, Tanner. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. We're getting ready to have an awesome year, and I'm so excited that you're joining me on these videos again because the people in Kemp Woods, I hear from folks, they're like, hey, I watched their videos, and it's really nice to keep up on the market. So I always appreciate you taking the time. And folks, I've said it before for my Kemp Woods fellow residents. I could have asked anybody to help me on these, but I asked a true superstar, somebody who I believe 100% in that if you're thinking about listing your house coming up, and we're going to give you some tips in a few, you got to reach out to Dayla. And Dayla, I just love working with you. And I know that when you get a listing or two in our neighborhood in the next couple months, you're going to help protect the value, which is important to me.
Absolutely, Tanner. And I live in Chesapeake too, and I have sold in Kemp Woods, love the neighborhood, and I'm going to do all I can to help. But I sure appreciate you letting me come on and just talk to your people. It's going to be a great 2025. The year is already starting off with a bang.
Yep, I've been seeing a lot of pre-quals too. So we're going to get to it. And the first thing we're going to do is we have 3 sales in the neighborhood that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about 904 Anna Joy Court. Now, you and I have been keeping an eye on this property for a little while. Yep. And it was, if I remember correctly, it was on the market and then off the market and then came back on. So tell us a little bit, how did it break out for Anna Joy Court?
So my goodness, I'm so happy that they got a good price, because being on the market for a minute, sometimes the seller has to give up some money and you don't get full price. Right. But they had listed at the $667, and they got $657. So $10,000 in the grand scheme of all that. I'm very happy for that seller.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially, as we talked about timeframes before on our last video, that this isn't the peak season as Northern Virginia is digging out of a foot of snow. And it's, it's just, I haven't walked the dogs this morning because it was a little chilly. So it's not the ideal time, but they did get that, which is outstanding for them. And if I remember correctly on this particular home, they had a nice pool in the backyard and really shaded. And that was one of my favorite parts about the home is, they had a great backyard. So props to the new owners. I'm sure they'll have the pool ready to go for the spring.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, let's see. Let's go ahead and talk about the next one that we're going to get to here. All right, Dayla, the next one to chat about, 1525 Shenandoah Parkway. Now, this one ended up going listed for $649, sold for $634.9. Time frame once again, but yep. If I remember correctly, I'm not sure this one had a pool. So let's take a look, maybe because that plays a role.
Correct.
So let's take a look here. But, just kind of give me some general thoughts right now. The listings that you've been seeing in the market in Chesapeake and Virginia Beach, what are you seeing right now?
We were dead for a little while. I mean, I think everybody was, oh, it's Christmas, it's Thanksgiving. So I think people took a step back, got the holidays out of the way. But my goodness, towards the end, the last week of December, first week of January, my phone has been ringing off the hook. And, the number of leads that I'm getting is up, 4 times what it was the 2 weeks before that. So I think everybody's been in a little stupor, got all that holiday behind them, and now we're ready to rock and roll.
Now, you and I work with some Dave Ramsey. You helped some Dave Ramsey folks. For the people out there, obviously know who Dave Ramsey is, and so we've been seeing an uptick in Dave Ramsey influenced individuals getting ready to stick their house on their market, and a lot of leads coming over. So that's usually a good precursor for you and I. Like when we can track that, if we start seeing more of that, it means people are getting back in the market.
So just to put some numbers in perspective, what we were seeing on Dave Ramsey was about 7 to 10 leads per month. And this past 30 days, it's been 30 leads. Yeah. So significant uptick.
For sure. And going, this property, once again, it was a little bit off their list price, but again, they did not have the pool, which is a huge expense as everybody who's priced out a pool in the last year and a half or post COVID. It's amazing how much you can get for, the pool builder guys are getting for pools these days.
And the wait time.
That's true. They're still digging out from the COVID folks. Yep. So
absolutely.
There's a lot of that for sure. All right. So the last one we're going to chat about that came and sold was the 1404 Shenandoah. And this one, we've been keeping an eye on this one for a long time. Now, this one's
a long time.
Yeah. So go and give us the rundown. Tell us, we've talked about it, but kind of give us everybody
Well,
thoughts
a
on this?
total of 134 days on the market. So that's quite a long time. And it had some wallpaper and some things that, were just a little dated. And buyers don't want the hassle of doing those things. So I am very, very pleased to report that it went for $495. The list price was $510. But given all of the projects that the buyer's going to have to do,
Right.
and the fact that it took 134 days to find that right buyer, I think the seller did really good by getting that $495 price.
I think so too. I don't know if they turned down a low ball offer that came in, but like you mentioned, there was a lot of projects that are going to have to take place in there. It was one of the few in the neighborhood that isn't brick all the way around, and it was kind of right at the front, so it had some things working against us, and it was on the smaller side. But regardless, the buyers are getting into Kemp Woods sub 5. And this is kind of going to be an outlier for comps, which at the end of the day, when we're talking about, appraisals and things, they're going to be looking for like. And this house is kind of going to be an outlier, but good news for the buyers once they get it looking pretty.
Well, here's the deal. Usually when a buyer comes in and they see a project, if that project is going to cost about $3,000, they usually take $9,000 to $10,000 off the sales price. Because of the hassle and the time. So if you spend $1, you're going to save 3 times that on what they'll take off the price. So I'm very happy for this seller that they didn't have a major price reduction here.
Yeah. All right. Well, now we're going to chat about some ideas for spring. So let me go and get our correct format pulled back up for us here. All right. So Dayla, we are approaching the spring market, which is a big time for people, especially if you're thinking of listing your home in Kemp Woods. And I gave you some homework, and I asked you for some 3 top tips for my fellow Kemp Woods residents thinking about listing their home coming up. What do they need to do to get their best value?
So here's the deal. Everything in Kemp Woods is sold right now. So you want to be the first one to the market because there's not going to be competition for you if you do that. So you want to be first.
Okay. Be first.
Because you don't want that competition. So the first C is competition. The next C is clear clutter. Maybe that's 2 C's, but
right.
Clearing out clutter. I'm a professional stager. Most of staging is not bringing things in. It's taking things out.
Yeah.
So your closet's going to look better and bigger if you have less clothes in it. So whatever season we're in, take those clothes out. Clear that clutter.
Okay.
And then the last C is curb appeal. Because before they ever come inside your house, they're going to drive by.
Yeah.
So if there's any light bulbs out for the outside lights, or get it pressure washed, even the sidewalk in front of your house, make it shiny like a new penny. That curb appeal is the 3rd C. So you've got your competition. So get ready early and be the first one to the market. You've got clear the clutter. Less is more. Take out what you're not using right now. And then curb appeal. Because even after your house is on the market and they have decided to come see it, Tanner, I'm sitting there doing all this with the lockbox trying to get them in, right? So they're standing there for 2 or 3 minutes. They're looking at everything on the front porch. So, that new floor mat, that new welcome home, all those little things.
They add up. Those were 3 great tips, but I got a 4th one for you, a bonus one.
Does it start with a C?
It does not. It does not. Well, actually, it does. I take that back. It does. They need to call Dayla to get, what do I need to do to get my house ready? So we got, make sure you're first to the market, good competition, not going to have much to compete against, declutter your house, curb appeal, and call Dayla is number 4. So with those I'm throwing a bonus one in for the folks. So Dayla, we're going to have an awesome year together. Kemp Woods is going to continue to have the values go up. Thank you again for taking the time to pop on here with me. Always a pleasure.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tanner. Have a great day.